Good morning, Yankee fans. Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with Alex and Ryan. Today we're looking at an interesting wrinkle in the pitching situation, especially in the rotation. Obviously, we did anticipate Garrett Cole needing Tommy John surgery and Luis Gil already out for a minimum of 3 months. Not a good situation to find yourself in if you're the Yankees, and ultimately, they need some of these back-end guys to step into prominent roles. Marcus Stroman was a trade candidate. Now he is a guy we can't afford to lose. Will Warren, hopefully he was going to work his way into the equation at some point. Now he is in the equation. And also you have to factor in Carlos Carrasco, and that's where we're going to find a little wrinkle here to talk about. Carrasco's on a minor league contract, and the Yankees need Carlos Carrasco at this point in time simply because they don't have that many starting pitchers on the roster right now, and they have injuries, and they need veteran arms they've been building up over the course of a few weeks. So if Carrasco isn't put on the active roster when spring training cuts happen, he has an opt-out in his contract, and he could opt out and leave. And the Yankees really can't afford to have him leave right now. So the idea here is, could they end up optioning Will Warren to AAA? How could they fit both on the roster? And do both deserve to be on the roster, Ryan? This is a interesting numbers game, but the Yankees have some big decisions to make with injuries that they didn't see coming, and now they're kind of drowning, or at least treading water, trying to figure out how to supplement it. Before we dive into it, how are you today, my friend?
I'm doing all right, hanging in there. I think it's going to be interesting to see kind of how the Yankees, as you mentioned, figure out this rotation situation, because as things stand right now, Carlos Carrasco is their sixth starter, or Will Warren is their sixth starter. So if you go kind of another level down in that depth chart, you go to Allen Winans. This is no disrespect to Allen Winans, but he is not someone who has a strong big league track record, which definitely is going to play a role in the Yankees' decision. And you have a very, very tough choice, not because, in my opinion at least, not because one player has performed at the same level as the other. I actually think Warren has been far more impressive in camp, but rather because, as you've mentioned, you run the risk of losing one of those players, one of your very few major league starters, not like major league caliber, just like major league in general, someone that can throw innings at the big league level. It's really hard to find. The Yankees AAA depth chart isn't very strong right now at the pitching side of things. Chase Hampton being hurt, Tommy John, that hurts. I know yesterday the spring breakout game, a lot of fun arms, but none of them are going to be in AAA to start the year. So yeah, this is, Alex, it's about as tough a decision as it gets for the Yankees, and they're gonna have some very controversial decisions they're gonna have to make in the next 3, 4, maybe even 5 days.
Absolutely. And before we dive into those decisions, Ryan, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, BetUS. I have another little bet for you guys today. I was scouring the BetUS website, and I see 2025 American League East winners: Yankees, Orioles, Red Sox, Jays, and the Rays. And the Yankees have plus 165 chance of being the American League East winners. Although I think the Orioles have a good chance at 275. The Red Sox are at 250. The Rays and Jays I don't really think have that good of a chance. The Red Sox could be a low-key team this year and a legitimate competitor in the East. But I still think the Yankees have the best team. So I'm going to put $25 down on plus 165 because we're fans and we still believe that the roster is composed of really solid talent across the board, even with some injuries right now. Other teams, will probably have some issues they face as the season progresses. But as always, guys, make sure to lock that in on BetUS. 150% match on your first deposit, 125% on your next two, up to $2,000. Fastest payouts in the sportsbook industry. But back to the discussion, Ryan, I think with the way that Warren is pitching yesterday, I know he got hit with some earned runs allowed because he gave up 2 singles and they took him out. They put in a guy that's not going to make the team, and he got batted around and his ERA got inflated, and it wasn't the best situation. He ran out of gas a little bit towards the end of his stretch there. But the way that you're seeing Warren pitch right now and what he's doing to tweak his mechanics, obviously his command looks good, his velocity looks good. Are you encouraged by what you're seeing in terms of him being a long-term piece in this rotation, not just a stopgap to help supplement injury, but to be a prominent piece? And 6 years of bargain cost, by the way, because he's pre-arbitration. Do you visualize Warren being a long-term asset for this team and a guy that's going to be a key component in the rotation moving forward?
I have been really happy with what we've seen from Will Warren. I think he's had a very strong camp. In my opinion, he has proved that if this was if this was a situation where there's no ramifications to sending Carlos Carrasco down, this isn't a conversation to me. Like, I think Will Warren has clearly earned that fifth starter job. He has been one of the most, if not the most, impressive pitcher for the Yankees in camp. His stuff has been remarkable. His ability to command the zone is greatly improved from years past. His slider is remarkable. The sinker, it's a really good contact pitch. He's keeping the ball on the ground. He's getting swings and misses. He's not walking people. I just have such a hard time sitting here and arguing that from a pure performance standpoint, that there is really anyone in the Yankees that has pitched at the level that he has. So, look, I know that people, you're going to mention the 10 ERA from last year, and that's cool. You can do that. I'm not. It's whatever. I don't really care. But I could point to so many starters the Yankees have had who have come through the organization, who have developed through the organization, who have gotten their butt kicked at the major league level and have converted that experience into a very, very successful big league career. The Yankees' decision to roll with Jordan Montgomery in 2017 proved to be one that I think kept that team alive and helped them get to the postseason. They ultimately go to the ALCS, and it kind of opens this window of contention for the Yankees. The decision to go with Clark Schmidt in 2023 and let him develop, it's one that could, really pan out big time for the Yankees. And, we saw last year kind of glimpses, really that were only cut short by injury. Michael King at the end of 2023, the decision to experiment and let him start again, despite all the struggles he had as a starter early in his career. It's one that resulted in Juan Soto being on our team for a year, and one that the Padres have reaped the benefits of last year and will this year again because he's an ace caliber pitcher. That's what good organizations do. They identify young, talented pitchers or young, talented players internally, and they give them the shot. They give them a shot to play. They don't draw a conclusion about this player not being good after a very small sample size. They look under the hood. They look at things that matter. Things that matter are things like, your stuff scores, pitch quality scores, your ability to miss bats, those kinds of things. They care about that. They don't care about, 10 ERA in 6 starts or 6 outings. Jeff Passan reported that the Yankees got a lot of or received a lot of calls from teams trying to acquire Warren, which no surprise to you and me, maybe a surprise to some other people, but not to you and me. We knew this. We knew that the Yankees had a talented player. And again, now this comes down to, do the Yankees believe in Will Warren enough that losing Carlos Carrasco is something they're willing to do because they want to have the better pitcher on the mound? If you ask me, I think I'm going with Warren. I'll roll the dice on Carlos Carrasco walking away, and whatever ends up happening there, you can maybe sign a Kyle Gibson to a minor league deal. He's not going to be ready to start the year, so he's going to have to sign a minor league deal. Maybe Lance Lynn has to sign a minor league deal, although there was reported progress on a 1-year deal with the Cubs, so I wonder where that's going. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I don't really think Carlos Carrasco, look, he's a living body, and that does matter. I don't think Carlos Carrasco is irreplaceable on the free agent market. And there's going to be a lot of guys who end up opting out, and a lot of guys who end up finding homes, and a lot of guys who don't end up finding homes. Carrasco's actually had a really strong camp, in my opinion. He's up the whiff rate in spring training. I'm actually kind of surprised he's missing as many bats as he is. The Yankees made him more of a sinker slider guy, but I'm sorry, man. Like, I've got to go with Warren. Like, I really do. Again, this is no disrespect to Carlos Carrasco. I think a team will actually pick him up if he opts out of his deal. But the stuff is not good. Like, the raw stuff is bottom of the barrel. If you look at TJ stuff plus, I mean, he's one of the 10. He's in the bottom 10. He's one of the 10 guys who, like, they rely so much on finesse, and we know that finesse can work at the major league level, but we also have seen finesse from the Stromans of the world, and that's an ugly sight. Like, it's an ugly watch. It's a tough watch. It's not something that works in the postseason. Warren, on the other hand, he is 4th or tied for 3rd in TJ Stuff Plus. This guy has had, we're talking above Corbin Burns, above Sandy Alcantara, above Dylan Cease, above Cole Reagans, above Tariq Skubal. Mitch Keller isn't as good as those guys, but he's a dude. Above Zach Wheeler. Like, this guy's stuff is overpowering. There are guys who, like, he can throw a fastball over the middle and still get an out. Carlos Carrasco may not be able to throw a fastball in the exact spot he wants to and get an out. Like, Carrasco's margin for error location-wise is razor thin, and I don't think anyone on planet Earth reasonably has the command to say they can have success over the course of a full season pitching the way he does. I think someone could very easily have, and not just very easily have some success, be like a 4 ERA starter, like very easily be a middle of the rotation, maybe even frontline starter over the course of a full season. Like, that's how confident I am that Warren stuff will translate to the next level.
Yeah, and that definitely is encouraging in terms of why the Yankees will likely roster him to start the season in the rotation. I think that's the right decision. The reason I think they will keep Carrasco around or find a way to roster him, at least they'll use a bullpen spot for him, whatever. They can have him pitch out of the bullpen, let's need him for a starting job. I think that, as you mentioned, there are other free agents available, but it's price tag for the Yankees right now. Like, they don't want to pay for the free agents available, whether it's $5-6 million a season. That's kind of the going rate for like low tier arms right now, like supplementary arms, like a Kyle Gibson. I do think that the Yankees kind of look at Carrasco and see a really cost efficient player that's going to provide similar results, some of these guys, at a much cheaper cost. So that's kind of where I see like Carrasco making this team. His velocity, it's ticking a little bit higher, but we're talking like 92. It's slow. He's not the same player he once was. He is putting the ball on the ground a lot more this spring, so that's encouraging. But I don't necessarily look at him and say, yeah, this guy's going to be a 3.5 ERA. He's going to give you a 4.45 ERA, and like that might be lucky, honestly, with him at this point in his career. So you're getting what you're paid for, and the Yankees are paying for a supplementary arm that is really a last resort. And he was never supposed to not make this team, dude. Like, that's the truth. Carrasco was never supposed to even make this team or make this roster, but now he might be in this rotation at some point, and that's scary. So I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on and something to watch. If you're a Yankee fan right now, is how this rotation kind of bubbles to the surface and how it irons out. But I do think that Warren has done more than enough to stake his claim in a spot here, and not just stake his claim and be a prominent piece for a long time. You're talking about someone who's making next to nothing for years. It's in their best interest to give him a lot of room to work and a lot of innings to build him up, to build his confidence, to get his stuff to where he needs to be, make those mechanical tweaks, whatever. Like, it all will play at the end of the day, and having that Luis Heel on pre-arbitration money, having Will Warren pre-arbitration, Clark Schmidt in arbitration, like, these things are so important to the longevity of a team. And it's allowed them to spend more on guys like Rodon Fried and obviously Garrett Cole in this recent extension. So, long-term, the outlook still remains very, very optimistic. It's just, you just can't predict injuries sometimes, and it happens. Pitching, this is just the way it goes. Now, offenses look solid. Jason Dominguez is hitting the crap out of the baseball right now. We just made a graphic, showcasing his first 6 games compared to his last 7. Ryan, let's talk about him for a second. Jason, the left field woes, yeah, they're present, but they've been getting better. I've noticed improvement. He looks like he's tracking the ball better. He's definitely fast, athletic. Like, I don't think long-term he will be a horrible defender, maybe an average defender. And honestly, that's all we really need in left field. But offensively, what you're seeing from him the last couple days, the slugging rates are going up, the OBP is going up, the batting average is going up, the WRC plus is skyrocketing. What are you seeing from him? Just looks like he's getting comfortable in the batter's box right now.
Yeah, Jason Dominguez, in to the same tune of like with Will Warren, or when I talk about Ben Rice, it is important, it is imperative, it is almost the only way I could foresee the Yankees getting to the World Series again without Garrett Cole. It is with their young, talented players stepping up and being vital to or being right kind of front and center in their push into the postseason. They need to play Jason Dominguez every day. I think they will. They need Jason Dominguez to have a good year. I think he will. And they need to give these guys the experience, the runway, and the confidence to know that they can struggle, they can have their moments, they can fail at times, and they can wake up tomorrow, short-term memory, and put together a good at-bat the next day. Or if you're Warren, put together a good start the next time around. When you're yo-yoing these guys, when these guys don't have definitive roster spots or playing time, not to say that like the Yankees should be blamed if like Dominguez doesn't work out because they didn't play him consistently last year. I think that's BS. I think that, he's going to play a lot this year, and if he doesn't play well and the Yankees, he eventually flames out, like I will put that on Jason Dominguez. I'll ask why the Yankees couldn't turn him into a stud, but at the end of the day, I will ask why was Jason Dominguez not good, and the first person I will assign blame to is Jason Dominguez himself, because that's accountability. Same goes to Ben Rice. Same goes to Luis Gil. Will Warren. Luis Gil already had that breakout year. We'll see if he can kind of continue momentum there. Wishing all the best for him and his shoulder health. But Jason Dominguez, the success of Jason Dominguez is so vital to this organization. I mean, if those three players are, let's say Will Warren's a 3.8 ERA guy a year. It's not a superstar, but that's certainly a contributor. If Ben Rice is a 120 WRC plus hitter. If Jason Dominguez is a 115, good speed, below average defense, but nothing that's going to kill you. None of those three outcomes are superstars, but all three of those outcomes extend the Yankees' window of contention by at least a couple of years. Because when Aaron Judge is just good, not like the best player I've ever seen in my life, you're going to have so many good, not superstar players surrounding him, perhaps a big-time addition in free agency that is a superstar in their prime, playing like an MVP candidate, and you're going to have this well-rounded, well-fleshed-out, low-cost roster that you can then use expenses to go out and acquire players that, you can use to plug in other holes in your team. So the development of someone like Jason Dominguez obviously is vital. There's also that world where Jason Dominguez is a superstar, and he is everything we hoped and dreamed of, and he is the heir apparent to Aaron Judge, and we sit back and we go, oh my God, this guy's unbelievable. What a success story. What a home run signing for the Yankees, and what a great job by a scouting department. What a great job by the player. First and foremost, of course, the player, and then what a great job by the organization developmentally to put this guy on the right track and give him the tools to succeed. I think people define players or people define their athletic career. Who you are as a person, I think, plays such a big role in what you are as an athlete. And what makes me so optimistic about Jason Dominguez is that he is a phenomenal human being, or a phenomenal baseball mind. I mean, I watched that Marucci bat fitting video, and it confirmed everything I've heard about Jason Dominguez as a player, as an athlete. This is a guy who loves the game and loves the science of the game, who is both, not consuming too much information and letting the game kind of get too much for him. A guy who's not scared of the moment, a guy who's ready to take any challenge, a guy who can struggle and still kind of wake up the next day and he'll look the same if he's hitting 400 or if he's over his last 10. But also the accountability, the maturity, the wisdom beyond his years to be like, yeah, I know that these modern data points, these modern tools are things that are going to help me be a better ball player. He is, to me, such a smart, intelligent young man. He is a brilliant baseball mind. And couple that with some of the best talent in the organization, and you've got someone who could be a really special ball player. So, again, I'm not surprised that when he got off to a slow start in spring training, he's like, all right, who cares? I'm going to get my at-bats. I'm going to start feeling good at some point, and we'll ride that momentum into the regular season. I'm really not surprised. Jason Dominguez cannot surprise me with good performances because I expect that progress. I expect the development. I know what he's capable of.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we were saying a couple days ago, in the sense that, like, this is a guy that when he gets hot, he usually remains hot, and that's kind of where we're seeing his growth right now. The work ethic is impeccable. Obviously, this is a guy that, and it's kind of funny because it feels like he's been around for like a decade, right? It feels like he's been around for so long, been hyped up for so long, and people forget he just turned 22 years old. Like, this is not a 26-year-old prospect, a 27-year-old prospect. This is a 22-year-old kid. Like, he just was able to drink last year. You know what I mean? Like, this is not a situation. I know the hype has made him out to be this almost like everyone hopes you fail because you've been hyped up for so long. Is he ever going to reach his expectations and potential? But then they realize, like, he's been hyped like this since he was 16. You know what I mean? Like, 16. Imagine you being a 16-year-old and getting having that amount of pressure and being compared to Lou Gehrig and other, like, Yankee legends. Like, this guy has taken every single piece of adversity and expectation, and he's ran with it. And I think that the talent is there. The process and work ethic are there. Those two things married together, hard work, and talent usually provides results. So, we're going to stick to our guns there and say that he is so young and he's heating up, and we're really excited. The Yankees, and for all the people that talk a lot of smack about the Yankees farm system, there's a world, Ryan, where they have back-to-back AL Rookie of the Years, right? Like if Jason Dominguez has a great season and wins that award, and the Yankees people talk a lot of crap about the Yankees farm system, well, it's because they graduated a lot of their players. A lot of their farm talent is now contributing in the majors and in prominent ways. So I think that's something to always keep in mind with the context of, the Yankees, the farm system isn't what it was a couple years ago, because half of them have graduated and are playing for the Yankees right now. So I think that is a point that I would like to just emphasize. But guys, always happy to hear your thoughts down below in the YouTube comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe as always, and a big shout out to our sponsor, BetUS. Appreciate you, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.